Hello, people. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV's After Hours, and it is fucking after hours. It is 25 past 1 in the morning, and I'm joined by my good friend Costa, all the way from Washington DC. Costa,
Yeah,
how are you? How are you doing?
I'm very well, very happy to. I think this is my first late night appearance, not in a Twitter space anyway. And for me, it's not that late. For me, it's 8:30. And when James sends me a message and it's 1:30 for him, I can't not show up because I'm like, who am I? It's only 8:30 over here. I'm not tired yet, so I
I
have to come
know.
on. If James isn't tired, I have to come on. So
Fuck it. The show must go on. The show
yeah,
must go on. West Ham, Costa. What are you saying about West Ham currently?
I mean, another reason for coming on is I have like I have to talk to someone about West Ham. I have to get it out because I'm not going to the pub tomorrow. I'm not waking up at 7 to drink at 9, which is what we do every weekend. So I mean, I'm just looking at the transfer window, looking at all the possible signings, and as has been the case, I don't know how many transfer windows it is, James, in a row, where
Mm,
every single window, I always have the feeling like we're not getting business done early, and I'm gonna have to wait until the last week. And I always have that feeling, and I'll have a mini stroke. If we ever sign someone January 2nd, I'll be like, fuck me. Who's in the staff now that's getting this done? It'll probably be new ownership by the time that kind of thing is happening, honestly. But
Shout out to
yeah, I
John,
mean,
mate.
I don't know. We've got a lot of links, but nothing too concrete. And I'm glad that our injuries are happening now, I guess, because we have this break, sort of. But obviously, the two next matches should be 3 points. And now it's
Yeah.
going to be a little more difficult. So, um,
John, hope you're well, mate. Good time for me. 8:30 Saturday morning in Thailand. God, yeah, mate, I've gone global, people. I've gone global. Steve says 1:30 to him. Uh, hope you're well, man. Hope you're well. He's a member of the channel, good man. And
sniffer.
same to you, Keith. What a blimmin' hell are you doing up this late? Well, I don't mind if I join. No worries, Keith. No worries. For me,
Yeah.
I'm slightly concerned, Costa, in regards of
Oh,
sort
what?
of about the transfers and everything, because I would have thought West Ham would have been in and around getting someone in the door this week. It's now Friday now, coming into Saturday, like early hours of Saturday morning, and we don't have no one. And the thing is, the game on Tuesday is a big game, really, to a point, because now we've made it hard work. Well, it's going to be even more hard work than it was last Sunday. Yeah. Um, and I'm a bit nervous. I think for me personally, it goes to the owners. Nah, I think anything to do with Moyes is irrelevant. I think you look at the ownership of the club and think, where is your ambition? What do you make of it in regards of sort of there's no fucking sign. There's no nothing happening at the minute, is there?
Yeah. Um, so what's changed in the last 5, 6 years? Recently, what's changed is that we have possibly more staff, more scouts. I remember in the Pellegrini to Moyes transition, we had no scouts,
Yeah,
none. It was embarrassing, frankly. And there was even a job advert for West Ham scouts that was posted on Indeed or something. You remember that? And it was going around, and the pay
remember
was
that.
woeful. It might have been like volunteer or part time or something.
I actually
And
remember that.
and but it's so I think that now we have a better scouting infrastructure. We probably have more professionals on the books. Probably still not enough, frankly, but at least we have a few. I've got I trust Tim. Germans don't spend a long time do it. They just get things done, right? They're expedient people. But what is still the same is the person with the money. And I, as much as I'd like to pretend Daniel Kretinsky's in the room, and I feel
Yeah,
like he's not really present. And I think that you can hire all the scouts and directors of football and that you want. That's gonna expedite having a good list of people to negotiate with. But the person who's signing off on the money is still the guy that went on Talk Sport and complained about having to book an extra coach to go to Liverpool to play Everton when we had a
Yeah.
play. And so if that's the mentality of the person signing the checks, that's also why we don't sign anybody till late January. Because if you wait until the last week of January, you've saved a couple hundred quid, 100,000 quid on fees, possibly on the wages, whatever. And so even though in the summer we'll have a massive budget and things, he still has the shoestring approach because that's his career. He's old school, and that's what he's always done in all his business dealings, and it affects our window because he's still there, you know. And
Yeah.
so when you there was a press release about, oh, Tim and David have been told to hurry the fuck up. Well, it doesn't matter if they hurry up, they're not signing the check.
True.
So they
It's
can
true.
have everybody ready. They can call the age. I mean, they're not paying the money. So it's the same
Yeah.
person paying the money. So we have the same delays.
The
Yeah.
the fear I do have in regards of West Ham currently right now is I don't trust Sullivan. That is the problem. And I said it the other day on a show I done with someone else. For me, when I look at West Ham right now, as can anyone trust Sullivan? Steiden, I've got no problem with. I think Steiden knows what he's doing. I think Steiden knows what Manny wants and everything. I think the situation currently at West Ham right now is we don't know who the manager's going to be in the future. We don't know who the new manager is going to be in the future, i.e., like if Moyes is going to leave, is he going to leave? Is
Yeah.
he going to stay? We don't
Yeah.
know the style of the new manager. So who are we bringing players in for now? It just feels like a fucking mess, if I'm being honest. Like
Yeah.
I looked at it the other
It
day.
always feels like a mess, though.
True, like, and that's
Yeah.
valid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it
I don't
seems
know
like
how we won a European Cup, to be completely honest with you, because it's always a mess.
it
Yeah.
is, mate. It is. And the thing
Yeah.
is with me, I look at the next 4 games. We got Bristol City, then we've got
Yeah.
Sheffield United, then we've got an
Yeah.
FA Cup game if we get through, and then we got Bournemouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't look bad on paper,
Mm.
but if we go to Sheffield United next week and we fail to win, the fans on whatever side you're on ain't going to be pleased. Yeah, they're going to look at it and go, oh, look, this. But I just feel that the owner is getting a bit of an easy pass on this one, like big time. Right? And I'm going to speak to you about sort of players coming and going.
Yeah.
What do you make of sort of, well, let's start with players going. Who do you see going from West Ham?
You mean besides who's already left?
Yeah.
Um, so I think under circumstances with no injuries and no African Cup of Nations, you might let a couple other people leave.
Yeah.
But the way I'm looking at it right now is I don't care, you know, like even if it's Aaron Cresswell, I'm not even letting him leave because I don't have the confidence in the replacement coming quickly enough
True.
or at all. Because we'll let a player leave and you assume, oh, well, the replacement's coming in 2 weeks. And they don't show up for 18 months.
True. Yeah.
and so like this is why I have an apprehension. I don't understand why we let Kerrer leave. Like it's
Yeah,
not a good
that.
time for him to go.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
a.
it. Like I get it if Moyes brought Mavropanos in and said, all right, Ogbonna's old and staying, so we can get a fee for Kerrer, so let him go. But he plays two positions and
Yeah.
clearly liked to be at the club. Like he was singing our songs and stuff. So I didn't get that. I didn't understand that because Zuma's injury prone and Aguerd is apparently, you know, who is it? Who's the big
PSG.
club that want him?
PSG.
Yeah. So now you can't like I would have said Tilo, wait until the summer. Naif is going to go for 3 times your fee to PSG. Like, why wouldn't you sell Aguerd, keep Kerrer in there for a moment as a placeholder, and then bring in a center back who's, you know, a guaranteed
See,
hit because you've got the
see,
money now.
see. The thing is, I don't understand the carer one. That's one thing I don't understand. I understand letting him go to a point because I think, is he going to get game time here? But we've got rid of him and we've not brought no one in. Like, no one of any note in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Zuma's a walk-in injury waiting to happen. If he goes down, then you got Nath Aguerd, who's in the African Cup of Nations. Then basically you've got your two starting centre arms in the Bonner and Mavropanos. If they
Not
go,
enough.
then we've got no one.
Yeah.
I don't understand the Carer one. The issue I have, and I do have this major fucking issue, is they've known about the left-hand side of West Ham's midfield for a long time. Yeah, for months and months and months. And this is before African Cup of Nations. This is before Christmas. They've known about it for ages. And there's still no one here. There's still no one who's looking like coming here now. Jack Clarke gets mentioned. I watched Jonathan Rowe tonight. I thought he was different level. Like, I like him from Norwich. I really do. I think 20 years old. I think he'd be a good fee.
Yeah, no, I like him. Yeah.
Like, and I understand what you're saying about Cresswell. Like, Cresswell's a player that we can't even give away at the minute. It's just, it's mad. Like we've got so many players, and I understand when people say about the bench, they say, "Oh, like we spent 400 million. Look at the bench. Look at the bench." But if you go through that bench one by one, right, you go through Maxwell Cornet, hasn't worked out. Danny Ings hasn't worked out, and then after that, these are players who've been here a long time. Antonio, Cresswell, Bonner. There's someone else.
Fornals.
Fornals has been here a long time. Benny, who I've backed up for a long time, has been here a long time. I I think Benrahma goes. If I'm being honest, I think Benrahma goes towards the back end of the window, and then West Ham will use the money to go out and buy a Clarke or a Rowe, someone like that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
What you saying on that? Go on, man.
It's too bad about Saeed. I don't know what it is that happened between scoring the penalty, and you're in a cup winning side and you're doing very well. Maybe not at his peak, but seeming to be on the way there. And then something happens in the summer that we don't totally know. We're not in his personal life. We don't know what's going on. I don't think it's like a family issue or anything like that, but I do think that time changes people and attitudes, and he's been, I don't know what the right way to say it is, picked on by Moyes, or he's not had an easy time, and he's been very patient, and he's been subbed off in the 60th minute more than anyone I've ever seen in my life get subbed off. I mean, I can't think of a player in West Ham history consistently so many matches in a row getting subbed off. And he was playing for Algeria when he had a spat with that manager.
Mm.
And I'm like, is that some of that frustration for Moyes? Or is it purely an Algerian national team situation? And he's just like, he's got his head down. Like he's not that, he doesn't have that spark, that brightness.
He needs a move,
Is his
Costa.
mom still in the stands?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm wondering, like, he just seems like he needs to start over somewhere else, and it's just too bad. But I think the right thing to do for him as us is just let him go to a strong French side. That rather than sell him to wherever. Let him go home to France, and I'm sure he will tear it up for Lyon.
I actually agree with you 100%. I think there's been a shift in him that I've seen. Now, I've backed him up for a long, long time. From the moment he walked in the door, right, I always said it. But something just switched on me last year, and I said, he's just not that guy anymore. He's just not that. You can't rely on Saeed Benrahma. And the problem you got is that you've got levels to the game. Yeah, you look at Saeed, he's nowhere near on the level of Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen. Nowhere near it.
No.
He's like three or four levels down. Yeah. He's actually this is no disrespect to him, but he's at the level of what we was last season. And if he's our best player last season in a relegation stroke mid-table season, that's what he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think personally he needs to go and leave. I think he needs to go to another club. I think West Ham need to get some money from him and go in a different direction.
Hmm.
Um, I look at
Yeah.
him, and people say, "Well, look how he's been treated, and look at like his confidence and all that." Some of the best players on the planet have always had like lost confidence, like lost their
Yeah.
moment where they. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Even I remember Hazard, who's one of the best players to play in the Premier League, goes to Real Madrid and just goes wallet flops like a good one. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
So
mean, I certainly didn't watch him any like highlights from it, but that's kind of what happened to Paqueta at AC Milan.
yeah,
Just didn't
exactly the
work
same
out.
thing.
Doesn't mean he wasn't any good. And sometimes, you need a fresh start somewhere else for your head to come back up, because that the Said Benrahma that cuts inside and isn't afraid to have a shot, I haven't seen him in like a year.
Yeah,
He just always he's closer to the corner flag than the goal, and half his crosses go wayward, and he's not looking to score anymore. And yeah, that I can't think of someone like I would love to let Ings leave and bring in a striker, but that's so easy to say. It's not.
yeah.
It's much easier to say that because his wages are high, and then I think he wants to stay, which I don't quite get it. But I've heard that. I heard that in the summer. In the summer, we were like, "Would you like to fuck off, please, to Southampton or something?" And he's like, "No, I'm staying for my place. New hair, new me." But now it's the same. I think I read it again. He's like, I'd rather stay."
125
What
grand a
what
week.
does that tell you about his mentality?
Um, I think
Although I
I
thought
think
he was good as a sub against Bristol.
yeah, he was all right. I must admit, he was all
Yeah,
right.
he was
The,
trying.
the only thing I will say in regard
Yeah,
to players, I look at Benrahma could be at the door. I don't think Fornals goes, mate. I really don't. I think Fornals will go at the end of the season on a free. I think West Ham. I don't know why, but I think they look at Fornals and think we can't really sell him to a point, so we'll just keep him at the end of the season, run his contract down, and then let him go.
yeah.
Um, After that, there's no one else really who's going to bring in
Oh,
any value,
yeah. No,
which
I mean
which is
there's
crazy.
U21s to send out on loan, but they weren't gonna play. Um, and what's funny is I was thinking what you said about Fornals is
Mm,
incredibly sensible, and no one would disagree with you. But I felt very similarly about Carrere.
yeah.
To me, Fornals is the Carrere of midfield. So, but it would I would be beyond shocked. I would be more shocked if Fornals left,
Mm.
because he's our out of out of position left mid who's preferred to two left mids. So, you know,
He-
Moyes loves to put in a center mid at left mid. I don't quite get it, but
I know, mate. It's mad.
yeah,
Right. They are coming back. I do apologise. I've been a bit busy, obviously Christmas and everything, but the betting videos on the membership will be coming back. I'll be getting them done, and
yeah,
you'll be getting some winners on that. Forno signed a 1 year extension. We're selling him in the summer. I don't think we will, mate. Fucking, I just don't see it. Right, I will say that. John, the first level in our top six level. Agree on that comment. The bench are lower table level. Agree on that comment. We need investment in the bench. Juniors not ready yet. What do you make of that comment? Because I absolutely agree, 100% with that.
yeah. John is spot on. The problem is we spend 100 to 150 million in the summer, and that sounds like a lot, but in this day and age, it's six players.
Mm,
But we're always as also selling six players and not really increasing our numbers. But then when we sell, it's almost always at a loss. And I think that's part of the motivation for selling Carrere, to bring it back to him one last time, is you actually got the same fee that you paid for him. And so that
mm.
might be too good to resist in a financial department of the club, where you're like, well, we keep having Felipe Andersons. We got to sell this guy before his value.
True.
So yes, our bench is unacceptably woeful, and I don't trust anyone from the bench to come on and do well. And part of that is he leaves subs so late.
True.
Like I felt like I understand being patient and conservative in certain matches. Like if you're playing Man City and you've managed to keep it 1-1 and the defense has been solid, so you're very hesitant to sub because you know your bench is shit. But against Bristol, that's the time to see if the bench can wake up. And
I
I
agree on this.
like,
Go
please,
on.
I was begging him to put Cornet on at halftime. Like, give him a full 45 minutes to see, because 20 minutes is not enough to get into a match. It really isn't. You know, when someone scores because they've come on in the last 15 minutes, we think of it like a miracle. We're like, wow, he came on and he scored. Like it's such a so it's not gonna happen with Cornet, you know. So yeah, our bench is it's not a glamorous area to invest in, but you have to, and that's why I think Rowe and Clarke actually are perfect for the bench. Because
Yeah.
they're still young, but they can come in and have an impact. And I don't really know which one I'd like more. I'd take either one of them. And
Uh,
frankly, the more England U21 players that we can poach from lower
yeah.
clubs, do it. Do
Yeah.
it. It only helps.
The only thing I will
Stand for it.
say, the only thing I
Yeah.
will say with the pair of them, they've both got good assets. Like I'm gonna be doing a video tomorrow, or I might even do it later on tonight. On
Yeah.
Rowe. Yeah, I like Jonathan Rowe big time. Yeah, out of the two, I think Clarke's a good player and all. I think they're both very, very good players. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think Rowe for me just shades it a little bit more. I think he's more athletic. I think he's more skillful. I think he scores all kinds of goals. But Clarke is a talent. Like he reminds me of a Jack Grealish, but with speed. Like that's how he is. Like he's just the way he plays. He's a clever player, Clarke, and it like whoever we do get, if we get either one of them, I'll be able to fucking moan. But I think Rowe, for me, I spoke to a few Norwich fans, like because obviously my missus lives up in Suffolk, and there's a few Norwich people that I sort of go to a local pub, and they
Yeah.
said they can't rave about him enough. He's actually from North London, if I got that right. He used to play for AFC Wembley, and he went from AFC Wembley over
I see
to
that. Yeah.
to Norwich, and obviously Norwich had picked him up, worked with him, and I just like the kid. I do. I just think there's goals there, and there's pace. There's a different avenue. Like, is he ready to come in and be that hitter straight away right now, Rowe? I don't know, but I think he's a
Yeah.
talent that could be in a couple of years. He could be like a Wilfred Zaha, Eze type player, and we need a player like that. We really, really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, What do you make of the Mexican striker? Because the video you done on Edson Alvarez is still pinging to this day. Everyone loves that video that you done on this channel in regards
Yeah.
of talking about him. What do you make of the other one? Is it Santiago
Jimenez.
Jimenez?
Yeah, with a G. Look, I. It's a nice little romantic idea. Have another Mexican there, and they can be best friends and whatnot. But I am generally not too inclined to sign people from the Eredivisie unless it's Ajax.
Yeah,
I think that we've learned our lesson a bit from other lower league. Like Haller wasn't Eredivisie, but that's where he went, and that was a bit his level. So I just for 30 million, okay. But then I heard something about that's the bid we would make, but they're really gonna ask for 45 or 50.
yeah.
Nah, no, that's too much.
For me, it's a tricky one because we ain't getting him for 30. That's the problem.
Yeah,
There's no way I'd be fucking stunned if West Ham get him for 30 million. He's just on the new 4-year deal with Feyenoord, I think it is, right, just to
mm,
increase his value. I think what you're saying, 45 to 50, it's a fucking big risk, like big
yeah,
risk. Right, I think he's a good player though. I will say that. I think he's a sort of player that would suit West Ham down to the ground. He's strong, powerful, pacey, scores goals, good in the
Yeah,
air, good on the ground.
yeah.
He's got that relationship with Alvarez. Um, I'm a bit mixed on it, really. I think if Steinen says he's the guy, then you've got to go with him.
Yeah.
If Steinen can get him for a nice fee, then I'm all for it. I don't think we're going to get him in this window. I think that's definitely a summer transfer target straight away. I don't think Feyenoord are going to sell him mid-season unless it's stupid money. Like if West Ham come in with £50 million bid for him, then maybe. But I just don't see it. I think he's a good player
James,
though.
do you know offhand what our record January fee is?
It's not a
It can't
lot.
be that high.
No, it ain't.
It's got to be
I
20 or something.
I will tell you, the last time we had a good window, from what I remember, was the first right when Moyes arrived. That first sort of January window,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We signed Bowen. We got Suchek on a loan deal.
Mm,
After that, we haven't really had. We signed some good players in the window. Obviously, Jesse Lingard coming on loan was a good signing.
yeah.
We signed, well, you got to say Danny Ings last year, which was a bit of a failure. But other than that, we've always seemed to sign decent-ish.
Mid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
when we got Bowen in the January window from Hull, that was a really good signing, and that's why I think maybe we might have to attack the Championship market while it's there. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, I just don't see us getting someone from abroad. Do you know what I mean?
Moyes can identify a player in the championship. I don't
Yeah.
trust him to identify a player in Liga or something, but I do trust him to identify a player in the championship. So when you bring Steiten into that, I think that means that we're going to narrow it down to really the best targets, because
Mm.
now you have a second voice in there evaluating the talent as well. So I look, if I had 100 million and I was in charge of everything, why not just buy the best five players you think of from the championship? Buy five British under 25s, and just two or three of them will work, because
Mm.
you have two very, very wise minds on this. One that's done it well before, and one that's done it in the other leagues, and so you bring those together. Look, if it doesn't matter really to me, if Steiten and Moyes both like someone, I don't care how much they cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care.
I actually agree to a
So
point. Yeah.
yeah, if Moyes likes Jimenez, all right, fine, 40 million, but maybe send us your manager as well with the part of the deal.
But one, yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute because
Yeah,
I don't see that one happening.
yeah, it's
To
a
round,
rumor though. Yeah.
yeah, to round it up from me in regards to this, I think there is some talent in the Championship, some real unearthed talent, and I think maybe West Ham might have to go into that market. That's one market West Ham do know about. It's the Championship market. Like that Championship market's pretty good to West Ham. We've signed some good players from the Championship, and obviously we've signed some bad ones. But I think we've done pretty well in the relatively of good in that Championship.
Hmm.
What I'm going to say now about the sort of manager front. Obviously, you mentioned Slot at Feyenoord.
Yeah.
I don't buy it myself. I really don't. And I'll tell you the reason why I don't buy it, and I'll let you land. Um, David Sullivan, it goes back to him again, I'm afraid. He does not buy people out of his contract. It's literally,
Right.
ever since he's been West Ham's owner, sorry,
Yeah.
he's never bought anyone out of a contract to bring him to the club. Grant was a free, Billage was a free, Allardyce was a free. Uh, who else was the other one? Pellegrini was in China. His contract rolled down. That was a free. Um,
Yeah.
Even currently, right now, David Moyes was a free. So I don't feel, even with Steiden there, yeah, that Sullivan will go right. Let's go and pay a compensation fee of, let's say, 5 million for the sake of the conversation. I don't see
Hmm.
it. I don't know. What do you think on that?
Um, I am now completely convinced that Moyes is the manager next season.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I'm convinced is David Sullivan does want to sell the club. However, he's not in a rush. He's not going to sell it for less than £750 million valuation, possibly £1 billion, with all the 3 good seasons in a row and all that. So, anytime a club is bought, unless it's Ferguson or Mourinho or something, they bring in their man. And I think that the Sullivan that negotiates for players is the same man who negotiates to sell the club.
Yeah.
Which means that people have called in, said, "Hey, what's your price?" And he's not the best chap to negotiate with. Even if you're Qatar.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Qatar and you know how their regime is, and you call a former, like, pimp, sex store shop owner, how's that conversation gonna go when he gets a little nippy or rude or impatient? Look, I'm not there, but this is the man who bought Modibo Maiga without Allardyce's awareness. So, like,
I
anything's on
agree.
the table here. And
Yeah.
so, do I think that there are some massive potential owners? Yes, but I think it's going to take a while. And I think David Sullivan absolutely loves his life right now. He's got a model wife that he replaced his last one.
Yeah.
His club have made Europe 3 years in a row. Nobody's tossing coins at him from the director's box, which also, I don't even think that happened. I think that's bullshit that he lied and said in the papers. I don't think any of us threw coins at him, but you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
Burnley. We haven't had a Burnley in a while. And every time we qualify for Europe, he gets more money for the war chest, so that's less that he has to spend. Um, so I think he's in no hurry, and I think he's in no hurry to change the manager. I think he'd much rather, you know what, I'm going to keep extending Moyes until I get the offer for the rest of the shares that I want. And so
I
while
agree with you on this.
Steichen might want a young progressive manager, but I think Tim Steichen is young enough and at the right age that he sees his long-term future at West Ham, and he sees himself here when there's no Moyes, there's no Sullivan, and now it's completely different people he's working with. Maybe Kretinsky's still around. So yeah, I mean, I think that's my theory at the minute.
I feel what you just said there is spot on to a point, Joe. The coins did happen. Well, he must have ducked
Okay,
Sullivan.
I
One thing I
wasn't
will
there
say,
either. So
right, I'm going to say this about what I think on the situation. I agree with you slightly, and this is how I feel. I think Steinen's going to build this side to allow it to be taken over by another manager. I don't think. I think if a new manager was to come in the summer, he'd want a lot of money to try and rebuild his side. I don't think West Ham have got the money to rebuild the side. Now, listen, this is not a Moyes in, Moyes out thing. Yeah, because I'm fucking tired of that shit. I really am after tonight, especially. Right,
yes,
but I do feel, yeah, that it wouldn't surprise me if Steiden goes and Sullivan goes, right, we're going to keep Moyes here for another 2 years. We're going to let Steiden bring in the players he wants. And then basically, come the end of the 2 years, Steiden and Sullivan sort of go out, get the next manager to come in who's already got a ready-made team, if that makes sense. Because let's be honest, if West Ham was to get rid of Moyes towards the back end of this season, and West Ham was to go out and get a new aggressive manager, whatever you want to call it, then how much money are they going to want? Because they're going to want a bit of dough, right? And it ain't going to be cheap. Let's put it like that. And if a good manager wants to come in and sort of work with this project with West Ham,
yeah,
he's going to want it in excess of 150 million to go, right, I want my centre half, I want my centre forward, I want, like, yeah, fair enough, you've got other players there, The fear I do have is if they do go out, they do get another manager. Are, are they going to sacrifice Paqueta for that? Are they going to get rid of Paqueta or Kudus? Because let's be honest, their value is massive. Are they going to get rid of them to give the new manager money to build a new side with Steidon? That's the issue. I don't think West Ham have got the dough to go out there and hit a new manager with 150 million spend. I just don't see it. I'll be shocked. Like it could happen, but I'll be very shocked if it did. Let's put it like that. But I could see Steidon, Sullivan keeping Moyes here, building the side. So let's put it this way: if West Ham go out and get a couple of signings in this window, that's Steidon signings. Let's say they're his signings. Moyes stays for 2 years. Steidon goes out summer 4, 2, 4, 2. By the time he comes to the end of that cycle, West Ham would have a squad, like a good enough squad to hand over to the next manager. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I feel on this one, and I do feel in this one that feels more realistic because it's okay having Tim here, but Tim can't do it all in one fucking window. He just can't. He's like West Ham haven't got the finances to do it all in one window. You can't get rid of all your deadwood in one window. Like it's going to take a period of time. Like what you said earlier on, spot on. Like West Ham might keep 4-0 here because they can't get rid of everyone in one sitting. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I agree with what Joe's saying there. Shout out to Joe. I think Paqueta is going either way. That's the fear I have. If you get rid of him and you're going to use the money to rebuild again, in one way it could work, but it shouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying? What do you make of obviously the injury front? Because like we've got, what did you make of Paqueta's injury the other day? That's an interesting topic of conversation. People think it's on Moyes, people think it's on the medical staff, and people think it's on him. Whose fault is it, Costia?
I was in such a good mood until now because I had completely. I hadn't thought about that in several days, and now you've gone and brought it back up, which is we played our best player who already had an issue. It's just unlucky. It's Bristol fucking City. He doesn't need to play.
Well, I don't know.
Like I understand the magic of the FA Cup, but if you're a Premier League side and your best player is at 90% and it's Bristol City, not Manchester City, leave him on the bench. We are cursed with injuries. You don't play around with Lady Luck like that and expect her not to bite you in the ass. You're already missing Antonio because what did he do again? He slipped in training and now it's another month. I can't stand it with this club. I mean, it's like we spend heavily in certain areas and then there's other areas where it's just shoestring. And I would imagine by now that the physios would have gotten better, that the training, like the people, because there has to be a system in place for this. It's not, you can't just say like, it's Moyes' fault. No, there are multiple doctors telling him it's okay. It's not like Moyes is saying, fuck the physios. No, he can't do that. That's probably against the law to do that. And so that means multiple people are still making this mistake of bringing players back in it too quickly. And it goes back to that issue of depth and not having enough players on the bench.
One thing I'm going to say, so I'll get to his comment quickly. Matthew says last time we rotated, there was a meltdown and plus he created a goal. I agree with you on that, right? What you've said, I 100% agree with. Yeah, I really do because I'm strong on this. Because in any walk of life, there has to be there has to be accountability for it. Do you know what I mean? Like in the medical department, they must have turned around and said, right, this man is fit to play. The issue why I look at the medical department rather than Paqueta himself and Moyes is because the time he went down after the 14th minute in the game. That to me was a player that wasn't ready at all. Like literally, he was nowhere near. Now I understand it's Bristol City. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is we ain't got a good enough bench to fucking have these players and have trust in these players. Like if we had a big enough bench, Costa, and we had people like Benrahma who was on it, Cornet that was on it, these players were on it. I'd be like, he don't deserve. Fuck it, he don't need to play. The problem is, and this is the argument that I seem to have quite a lot, is Moyes don't trust no one other than the 11. And I tell you what, someone said it to me the other day, and they was right in what they said. When you look at Mavropanos has forced his way into that first team through his performances. He's actually been all right, Mav, yeah. And
Yeah.
when you look at him and now for Aguerd, it's a toss of a coin which one you really want. Zuma plays Aguerd, Mav, yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at anyone else in this side on the bench, who's really forcing their way into the team?
Not a soul.
There you go. And that
Nobody.
and that just tells you all you need to know. Like, there's no one there going, you've got. I want. No one's sitting there going, I need to see Maxwell Cornet in the starting 11. Like, no one's saying it because it just ain't happening.
That particular situation, I have so many questions about, because is he just shit in training? Like, he's just shit?
I think
And
I
how
think the injury's
how
done
does
him.
one go from starting, scoring, assisting with Paqueta and Emerson at Lyon?
Yeah,
You got two terrific teammates of his here, and then you go to a side fighting relegation with very little around you, and you get a 15 goals and assists, and you get their player of the year,
yeah.
and then you come here and you can't do shit. It's the same as Danny Ings, really. But the Danny Ings thing, like, I could see it from a mile away. But before we even signed him, I was like, that's not a fucking Moyes player. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. Why are we spending money on him? But Cornet, I didn't have that feeling at all. When we signed Cornet, I was like, oh shit, Benrahma's going to have his work cut out for him. Here comes class. And then he did this one. Everyone likes to ignore the statistic. When I bring it up, they don't care. He started very well, and everyone forgets.
He did start well, yeah.
He had 5 assists in 4 matches. That's better than anybody else. Yeah, okay, it was in Farmers League Cup matches, beginning of Europa or Conference League. And then I'm told that he has a very rare condition in his thigh or whatever, calf muscle, something, and he has to go to France because not a single British doctor has ever seen this or heard of this. So he has to go to France.
It's the West
And
Ham way.
I'm like, that's when I'm just get fucking confused.
Yeah.
Because and this is not the first time, by the way. We've had players go to their home country for treatment, and then they usually end up signing elsewhere and leaving. Like Scamacca. Scamacca went to Italy for treatment. I'm like, you can't. What's wrong with the East London doctors? Nobody knows how to. And it's really because he was homesick, I think. And so I think Cornet's homesick, and David Moyes doesn't play homesick players, regardless of how good they may have been, because he says your mind's not there. But like, how quickly did he get homesick? That's what I don't understand. Is shouldn't Paqueta and Emerson have like put their arms around him? You're with us again. We're a trio. We're the three amigos. It hasn't happened. But like, part of me still thinks there might be a player there. I still haven't seen it up.
I feel with him.
Yeah,
I think the
tell me.
injury. I think the injury's killed him, mate. I really do.
Yeah.
Something Alfie says, and I make Alfie right. It's at this rate, I don't think anyone would want to take a risk on Cornet. Like, literally,
It's
they
been too
look at
long.
him, because what it is, you've got to look at it from a sort of medical standpoint. Yeah. Who's going to really go and bring a player in who's had that rare condition and that injuries like that at the minute? Like,
Yeah.
you just ain't going to do it. Like, if you're a Burnley, Wolves, fucking Bournemouth, Sheffield United, even, for instance, yeah, no one's going to go, I'll need to get Maxwell Cornet in because, like, he might play 2 or 3 games and then you're fucked. He might not do nothing ever since. I think the injuries killed him. I think I agree with what SDG Gaming is saying there about. I think it's a cop out till the 1st of February. If that's the case, then great. But
Yeah.
Courtney played with them for 6 months at Leon. Yeah, he did. And the problem is, I'm just a bit. It's gone from being good to being shit. The only way this can be resolved now, personally, is that we either bring players in, we get rid of players, and we fucking recycle the squad. If we don't do that, and we sit there and come February the 1st, and there's no one in there, that to me just falls on the owners. I'm going to get to that comment there because that's a good comment from SD. We can get James Walker. We can get James Walker Peters from Southampton for Downs. Would be a great bit of business. See, I like Walker Peters, and I think he's a good. I think he's a decent player. If you could name 3 positions, Costa, that we need right now, where would you say that is like the 3 key positions? Right, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to name you my 3. Then I want you to name me your 3, and then we're going to talk about Bristol. My 3 is this. I think no one is mentioning about the left-hand side with Emerson. I think Emerson is class. You take Emerson out, we've got no one on that left-hand side that can do anything what Emerson can do. I think Alvarez is a big problem also. If he goes down or gets suspended, we've got no covering defensive midfielder, but no one. And I do think the left-hand side, I think the striker we can get away with. I think if Antonio can get his arse back in gear, we've got Ings there. We've got what's his name, Bowen. Kudus can play there.
Obama.
Yeah, Obama's there. For me, I think we might be able to get away with it. But so I think left side, defensive midfield, left back, covering left back. I think right back we're all right. We've got Kafal, got Ben Johnson. I think we might be okay there. What you saying, mate?
So what I'm thinking about is, can I disagree with you or say anything different? I think my answer is affected by knowing Moyes keeps favorites in the lineup for too long.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I've got this weird conundrum because I love all 3 of our center mids, but none of them are fast.
True.
And I'm also tired of seeing Paqueta on the left and not in the middle, but it's working sort of. And so I can't, like, I would like a center mid and a left mid. But then I'm also thinking, are they going to play right away? Is Moyes going to be willing to drop someone when things have been working, in his view? So, yeah, I would, knowing that I can't solve that issue for him, and I don't know how he would even go about doing that. Like, let's say you bring in that Jota kid from
He's out in Saudi.
Lisbon. If you bring in Jota from Lisbon or Jonathan Rowe, right? And then you bring in Yusuf Fofana from Monaco, the very quick, maybe he's Conte, like, we don't know, maybe. He looks good. I think they're going to have a difficult time getting into the side. They might be the better signings long term, but I think knowing how injuries work, I'm going left back, right back, and striker. Even though what I really want is investment at center mid and left mid, I'm going to wait till the summer for that because I don't trust Moyes to bed those players in quickly enough that it helps.
I agree. I absolutely agree
But
with
the
that.
other positions, he's going to have to. Because if Emerson is hurt, he's not going to think about the new guy or Cresswell. He's not going to think about it. He's going to put the new guy in, right? If Soufal gets hurt, he's not going to think, oh, Ben Johnson or this new guy. No, he's going to put the new guy in, right? And there's so much turmoil at striker, he's definitely going to give a new striker a chance. So that's what I go with.
See, I agree with you on that. I really do.
Yeah.
I think, like, this window for me will sum it up. really. I'm just going to get to these comments, and then we're going to talk about Bristol. Do you think? Do you think send Nath to PSG is a good idea, bro? For me, no. I'm going to be honest. I like Nath Aguerd. I really do. I think he's a good player. I think he's got the pace. He's good on the ground. The only problem with Nath is he's fucking shit in the air. He's just not. When balls are coming in, he can't header a ball. He's not. He's a bit out of position. Right. I don't really want to lose Nath Aguerd. And the shout out to Fame, when I've done my Nathan Aguerd sort of signing review, it went up on TV. So it's going to be a sad day if he does fucking go. But personally, I don't want to see Nath go. I think West Ham need to build with him and Zuma and Mav and all that. The problem is money talks. PSG come in for him and offer, let's just say PSG offers 40 million for him or 35. We've got a profit on a player that we've seen and we just don't know where he's at. Where you look at Mavropanos for £18 million, is he doing anything? Is Mavropanos doing better than Nath Aguerd right now? He actually fucking is. To a point, he's doing pretty well for the value that he's cost. If that makes sense. So that's valid. Now we need serious pace on the left wing, another solid right back, and a solid striker. I actually like the look of the Bristol wingers. I know
No. You're not signing anybody from Bristol.
Mate, fucking, that's the only way we're going to win, I think. Can Alvarez play the centre back with Fofana fitting into a central midfield? He could do. But someone said to me the other day, funny enough, because I think that's another reason why West Ham won't go for a centre back right now. I think West Ham look at it and go, if worst case scenario, we were just flat and we had a Bonner and that was it, Alvarez could go at centre back. The problem is it's just a ripple effect through the side. You take Alvarez out, we've got no DM. You take these players out, we've got no centre halves. It is a worry with this fucking team.
But Alvarez and Fofana are so different. You can't swap them in midfield and think it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
And going back to the Aguerd thing, in a vacuum, I snap PSG's hand off and I take the money. But I'm just going to repeat myself again. I don't trust it to spend it quickly enough, right? Like if it's 45 million pounds and the replacement is signed, sealed, and you just need the money from Paris, do it.
Right?
Do I trust us to have that in place? No.
Right. Let me put this to you.
Yeah.
You sell Nath Aguerd.
Yeah.
You bring in Max Kilman from Wolves, and I know a little bit. I know a little bit about Max Kilman. Funny enough, because I know he used to play for Maidenhead in the National League, and that's Wolves snapped him up. Would you sell Nath Aguerd for 35 mil and buy Max Kilman for 35 mil? Would you accept that? Because it's very hard for me to say yes or no on this one because I like Kilman. I think Kilman's a good player, but I think Nath is. I think he's a good player. And I just think he's just had a bit of a bad time of it at the minute. What would you say?
So, Ash, I don't really know much about this player. I've seen it popped up. I've only watched. I mean, I watch Premier League highlights besides West Ham, but I can't remember this kid being any good. So I'm gonna assume and I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust your opinion, and I'm gonna just take your opinion and say he's really good. He's just as good as Aguerd. I'm doing it purely because I don't know when Aguerd is coming back from the cup. And what's it? Is it Kilman? Max.
Max Kilman.
That fella from Wolves, he's going to come in straight away, and I'm not worried about when is he coming back. Is he coming back in February?
I will tell you exactly what he's like. Right. The thing that makes no sense to me with this signing, is Kilman plays in the free. Plays at the free at the back, and he's left-footed. He's a good player. He can play in the 2. He can play in the 3. He's British, so he goes down on the British quota to say like he's homegrown. I think West Ham might need to up their homegrown quota because they're running out of fucking players, basically. Yeah. it's a tough one for me, Costa, this one, because I do like Nath. I fucking do. I look at him and I think he's good, but he's just shit in the air. If you was to get him aerially better, we've got a really good player there. And there must be a reason why PSG are looking at him. Like there must be, because PSG don't look at anyone when they've got quite a lot of money. So for me, if someone said to me, James, you've got to pick one of them right now to play for West Ham United, who would you pick? I'd probably pick Nath Aguerd, but Kilman is fucking good. Like for me, like, and I
Why
agree
don't
with
you
what.
think it is he's played for England? Like
Um,
not even a U21. I mean, he's 26 now.
yeah. See, I agree with that comment. I will come to that comment in a minute, Costa. Yeah, Kilman is equally a ball playing ability, better in the air, but will lose the recovery pace that Aguerd has, which is important. It
Mm.
improves Emerson's ability to attack. Totally agree with that comment from Matthew. 100%. That's bang on. Um, as a ball playing sort of defender, yeah, he's good. I don't know why Kilman hasn't really got a shot at centre half. Like England's had some pretty decent centre halves, and I think he's been close. But I think if he was to move to West Ham and he was to tear it up at West Ham, I think maybe he might get looked at, but it's a bit like James Ward-Prowse, like the situation with James Ward-Prowse currently. Like he does really, really well for West Ham. Don't really get a look in at England. Do you know what I'm saying? So I
Let
don't
me
know on
ask you
that
a
one.
pointed question. Is
Go.
he better? Is he better than prime James Tompkins?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's a good player. Trust me. I remember at Maidenhead. He was at Maidenhead for a few years and in the National League, and Wolves picked him up, and he's been at Wolves for a good few years. And there must be a reason why he wants to get away from Wolves and come down south. Maybe he's done his time in Wolves, but I think he's a bit. I think he's from round, not round my way, East London, but I think he's around the M25, the circle of London, basically. I call it.
Yeah.
So I think he just wants to come back down this way, and I I think Wolves might sell because they're in a bit of financial sort of difficulty at the minute, where you sell Max Gilman for a reasonable fee, that gives Gary O'Neill money to go out and strengthen his side. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think for
Yeah.
6 months, I think they could tolerate losing Kilman for 6 months rather than losing him at the start of the summer. And then they've got to find a replacement to come in who's going to adapt. So I don't know. I don't know. That Matt said it there. They need the
Yeah.
funds, FFP trouble. So for me, if I had a toss of a coin, I'd probably go with Aguerd, but it's only because Aguerd's been in. I've seen him do it, and yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. But what do you make of obviously Tuesday night, mate? We're going to Bristol. What you said on that?
Say that again. It's raining a bit. What did I make of the Bristol
Brit.
match?
Now, what do you make of the upcoming Bristol match? This one, the next one.
Oh, what the one coming up?
Yeah,
Um, it's not gonna be pretty. I mean, I still think we'll win on Tuesday, but it's gonna be bare bones, really. I mean,
yeah.
I, look, I he's not gonna do this, but I would play the kids. Not all of the kids, but like
Yeah,
play before you send him on loan, play Callum Marshall.
agree.
Um, play
Th-
Scarles, is it left back? Don't
Yeah,
don't risk Emerson. See how that kid does in under pressure. Maybe he's
yeah,
ready to replace Cresswell. I don't know. Right? Let Mubama play and complement with some veterans, Fornals and Ogbonna, and you'll have players who want to do well because they're young or they're on the bench and they're seeing an opportunity to impress. And we should win. We should win. But I would absolutely not play anybody from the starting 11 besides perhaps the goalkeeper or I guess Suchek if you want. But yeah, no, don't risk anyone. We already have too many people out for different reasons. And
see
I think
what
it'll be
you.
like a 2-0
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, what you just said there, I make you 100% right. Because what you said about Emerson, I was thinking, fuck me, if we lose Emerson, like imagine if Emerson
We're
goes
fucked.
down, yeah,
Yeah.
we've got no one on that side. Um, I think, I think, fuck it, I think play Divine. I think if you get listen, people, like the other day he wasn't good. For me, he just wasn't good enough. Yeah, and it's not because he's not good enough. It's wrong choice of words. He's just not ready. He's just like we're chucking him in, and we're hoping this kid can learn on the job, which is like
Yep.
anything, like any sort of trade you do in life, whether you're a stockbroker or in construction or whatever. You got to learn your fucking game. You know what I mean? As simple as that. You got to learn it. And
Yep.
so I would chuck Devine in. I would. I think you get more out of Devine with the press than you would do with Danny Ings. Skulls wouldn't be a bad shout. I wouldn't mind seeing Earthy, George Earthy, I think his name is. I think he's one of the top players in the academy. I think
Yeah.
he deserves a go. Right, he's a central midfielder, stroke sort of like attacking midfielder. Give him a fucking go. Get him out there and see how he gets on. Um, I think we're going to have to mix it up, but I just hope there ain't a meltdown if we don't get through, because I think the circumstances are, let's be honest, unreal. Like to lose our three of our best players in one hit.
Yeah.
The fear is I don't want us to lose any more. Like if we lose, heaven for right forbid we lose another player or another two players. Like I know Mavropanos will be back, so that's a plus. I think you go strong defensively to a point. Take Emerson out and maybe put Skulls in. But maybe put Ben Johnson in on the right as a right back. Fabianski in goal. Um, George Murphy, I wouldn't mind seeing. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I think he'd be all right. And after that, it's just a mix and match. I think Benrahma. I think Cornet has to play, and then it's like whoever else there is there. Do you know what I mean? Because we're running out of fucking players.
Yeah.
Um, how do you see it sort of going? Like, I know you said 2-0. Are you confident with it?
I mean, I think it'll probably look a little bit like the last match.
Yeah.
I just think that when you mix the lineup in with some kids and stuff, there's going to be more urgency, um, more aggression, more risk. You would assume that the system would be different, right? We're not going to do the counterattack thing that we usually do, and you don't need to because you've thrown some kids in and they haven't been training with the first team anyway. They're playing a completely different way for, is it Kenny Brown or is it Kevin Keane? Either way, right? They're not those two managers are not managing our kids to play counterattacking Moyes ball.
Yeah.
They're not. And so if the usual approach didn't work against Bristol, and you have to acknowledge that the Premier League place and the Europa League competition are more important, as much as we would love to lift an FA Cup, it's a risk you take because the other risk is too great. And so yeah, it's I'm thinking it's not a very fun, pleasant game to watch, but I will still enjoy it because I will be like paying attention to how the kids do. Right? Like
Mm.
whenever we have, like if Marshall plays, I'm, instead of me tracking the ball as I watch, I'm like just watching Marshall. I don't know if you do that.
Yeah.
But like when a kid I've heard good things about, or even a new signing, I'm just watching them, and I think it's an opportunity for the kids, and that's why I ultimately think like the kids have been beating League One starting 11s in
Mm.
what's that tournament called? Where
Oh, yeah.
U21 Premier League clubs play
Yeah. It's like
League
football
One
league
side.
trophy. That football league
So
trophy.
they can do it. They're used to doing it.
Yeah.
They've beat several League One clubs. So our U21 setup. So play them, and yeah, I mean, I think it'll look different. It won't be that interesting, but 2-0. I'm saying 2-0 because Bristol couldn't score against us the last time. We just
Yeah.
need to get it together on
Yeah.
offense, and if you mix it up and you just let them play, let the kids play the way they've been playing under their manager, have a couple veterans in the back line, it'll be a solid 2-0, and you might have some nice little celebrations from some kids when it really means something to them. Scoring for West Ham in the FA Cup means much more to Marshall and Mubama than it does to Danny Ings, you know? And
See,
that's what matters.
I agree with you on the Callum Marshall one. Like the Callum
Yeah,
Marshall one, I think it's time to see what this kid's all about. I think we've seen enough of Devine, and Devine deserves to be in there because he's better than fucking Ings. But I think Callum Marshall needs to go. He needs to go. What I don't understand with West Ham is that we're short and we're not allowing this kid to play for some reason, but we're allowing him to go out on loan. Now, what I'm going to lead on to now. I personally think West Ham will get it done against Bristol. I really do. I think West Ham will play the game, allow Bristol to come onto them, play their game, and it'll suit West Ham, and West Ham will hit them on the break. Yeah. The fear is I have with Moyes. This is where I'm going to leave it, sort of round it up with Moyes now.
sure.
Is that I if he goes full strength, and I mean when I say full strength, I mean every sort of first teamer playing. And A, we don't get the result, and B, we might lose a player for injury. EZ's going to be on the chopping block even more so for like, but then he can't win either way though, Costa. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
Mm,
if he goes too light, he's not took it serious enough. If he goes too strong, and we end up losing the game or whatever, then he's at
yeah.
fault for that. Where do you sort of see it with Moyes coming towards like the back end of this season?
In our West Ham fan base, it sometimes it feels like he's the prime minister or the
Yeah,
or the president,
yeah,
which is you have people irrationally backing him, like even when things are like definitely his fault, they will still back him. And then you have the other side, which they're both. I think you and I, James, we're like in the middle. We see both sides, but we're not extreme. And it would be very typical of him to put in a full straight side.
yeah.
And I've never had a manager where like I'm so divided myself. Like I either love the manager or I can't stand them, usually. And Moyes is the only one in my life where I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to feel about him tomorrow.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know
I
what
think,
else to say besides what you said is I think likelier than playing the kids.
yeah.
And you have to wonder why. Is it that loyalty thing? And
Or is he trying to say not save his job, but is he trying to earn the contract to a point? Like the
he
thing is
says he
with
doesn't
Moyes,
care.
yeah,
He said he doesn't care.
I think he does deep down though, mate. And I think what he is, I think there's a lot of issues with Moyes, yeah, and I'm going to go sort of through them quickly. I think the first thing is people look at it as in like Moyes in, Moyes out. Like if you back Moyes, you're a Moyes lover. If you back Moyes, you're a Moyes hater, or against Moyes, you're a Moyes hater, whatever. For me, when I look at David Moyes, I'm not fussed either way if he stays or goes. Like if Moyes was to leave at the end of the season, he had done a great 4 years with West Ham, like, and then in that 4 years we had an amazing run. And the new manager comes in, whoever that is, and hopefully, because nothing's guaranteed in life, hopefully we carry on doing what we're doing. If Moyes stays, then I'm not even opposed against that because I can understand it for a long term vision of the club. I really can because you use Moyes here for a couple of years. You might not like the style of play, don't get me wrong, but the more better players you bring in, the better the style's going to get. Yeah, and like the more comfortable the club's going to get. So when I look at right now with him, I'm not shitting the bed going, fuck me, he's the worst thing ever. But then I do understand it from people who don't like the style of play. For me, where we are currently right now, I can't really complain. Like we're sixth in the league. We're in the last 16 in the Europa League. Right. If you was to say to yourself right now, where do you want West Ham to be, as in your own personal preference of where do you want West Ham to? What do you see with West Ham? Like, what is it that you want? My attitude would be a top six, top eight finish, and in cup competitions and doing well. And also,
Yeah.
like the style of play, I'd love West Ham to be better. But fuck me, you can't. You can't have it all in one go. Do you know what I'm saying? This is going to take time. So for for me, I'm not going to say I sit on the fence with Moyes because I don't. I think he deserves the respect. He does deserve the respect of what he has done. If he does go, then we shouldn't be handing him out as if to say like, oh, like let's get him out the door. Like it's like we're rushing him out the fucking door. And this is a man who has. I'm going to be honest. In my lifetime, I'm 37 years old. I've never seen West Ham this consistent in the Premier League and be where we're at. I've seen us have one good season and two or three shit ones. There was another good one and things like that. So that's where I land on it really. But I don't know about yourself, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I'm of the opinion that he is the perfect manager for the situation that we are in, which is ownership purgatory. There's new
mm,
ownership. It's coming. I don't know when. I'm hoping it's before I turn 40.
yeah,
But I'm also thinking it's in the next year or two. And I don't want to. I would like Moyes to stay as long as David Sullivan is here.
yeah,
And I think that once that man is gone, change is inevitable because that's what new ownership regimes do.
true.
Um, but I will, when I'm 45, 50, and thinking back on this time, I'm not going to think about what I criticized Moyes about. I'm
Mm,
going to think about cups. I'm going to think about that Zuma goal in the 90th minute against Liverpool 2 seasons ago. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about.
yeah,
That made it 3-1. I'm going to think about um, the
Prague.
heartbreak in Frankfurt and how that's not his fault either. We just need to spend a little more in January. We didn't. That's never his fault. Um, and honestly, like I have so many nice things to say about him in terms of the memories that he's given us. And when I
Mm,
criticize him, it's very small, day to day, little things. But he's not at the problem at the club. What he's done really is increase our valuation to the point now that yeah, that asshole's gonna get more money, but someone who can really take care of our club properly will be interested. Might not be Saudi Arabia, but someone professional is going to come in, and it will be due to the stability that David Moyes, has given us
yeah,
against Sullivan's chaos and bullshit and media spin and dodgy bids and not wanting to pay for coaches and calling Jim White and like all that shit. He he doesn't address it. He doesn't like what I can't imagine him and Sullivan in a room together. I mean, it must be like a college professor and a kindergartner trying to have a fucking conversation. And the fact that he's able to manage that, no other manager has been able to work with David Sullivan for an extended period of time.
yeah. That's true.
And that's what I'm thankful for is that we could have gone downhill. We could have gone to the championship. The Olympic Stadium could have become a white elephant. And instead, he worked with what he had. And yeah, he's very stubborn at times and he subs too late. But when I'm telling my kids about this time, I'm not going to be talking shit about David Moyes. I'm going to say we
Mm,
were very lucky to have a man who had failed at Man United, but was incredible at Everton and he brought it here at a time when we could easily have been relegated or been 15th and been sold to a businessman in Asia who would do what's happened to QPR, like that Malaysian, what's that guy, Air Asia, Tony Fernandez, right?
Yeah.
Tony Fernandez is buy 15th place clubs. They don't buy serial Europa League finishers, and that's what I'll remember.
For
Really.
me, what you just said there is pretty much how I feel. I can't. I can't. Listen, Moyes is a fucking idiot at times, and he has done some absolute stupid things. And I think, Moyes, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, and you've drove me mad. And last year, I was very passionate with Moyes. Like, I thought he was going to relegate us, and the fear of relegation is something I don't ever want to feel with West Ham. I really don't. I've been through it too many times, and when it's like a death in the family. It really is. It's like that feeling
Yeah.
of like grief just comes over you. Yeah, and people might think, "Fuck me, you're going to be over the top, James." But for me, when I see West Ham get relegated in '03, I see West Ham go down in 2010, 2011, and the feelings that I had I just knew that the club wasn't going anywhere. Like, you got to go into the championship, and people love all that. They love the fucking championship, going around all these gaffs and all that. Yeah, it's all good. But my attitude's always been, I've always wanted to see West Ham be the best that they can be. Yeah, and I do think West Ham can do that. I really do. I think they've got the infrastructure to do it. I think they need to get the stadium sorted out. I think there's a lot of issues with the stadium, a hell of a lot. I think when you've got a stadium that's not really fit for fans, that's a problem. I think you've got a policy over West Ham right now, which I'm seeing quite a lot, where fans are going in now and they're not even supporters of fucking West Ham. Like that's a bit of a problem to me because they don't feel the they don't feel the club like we do. If that makes sense. Like, if I'm sitting there with you, I know that you're feeling exactly how I'm feeling. If I'm sitting next to a Manchester United fan or a Liverpool fan, they're not feeling it the same way as me and you feel it. So I think that's a bit of a problem. Um, and yeah, with regards on Moyes, it's a tricky one because I think some things he's done very, very well. Like Prague for me is a memory, and obviously Lucas went there, all the boys went there, and that night was like a special memory. And I think with me, I sort of go on respect in regards of him. I can't sit there and just badmouth this geezer all the time. I just can't do it because I will, like, for what he's brung West Ham, I can go to my grave and say I see West Ham win a trophy in my
Mm,
lifetime. Do you get what I'm saying? So I have to look at it with a bit of a respect factor and go, right, if he's not here next season, he's had a fucking good run. He's had a real good run, and he's had like not just a good run, he's had a fucking great run at West Ham. And if you're working under Sullivan, and you know
yeah.
what Sullivan's like, he's a bit of a penny pincher. That's where the problem lies. But it'll remain to be seen what happens in the coming sort of weeks and months, and hopefully we can get some signings in. But under David Sullivan, nothing's guaranteed, mate. I will say that. Costa,
Yeah,
thank you very much for coming on, mate.
absolutely.
I've really enjoyed it, mate. Any last
Yeah.
words before we go?
My last words, the Twitter space people would probably like Tay and Peaceful Mind. I feel like might be the same person. And
Yeah.
um all those people that sometimes I come on and criticize Moyes and they get quite mad at me. But what I will say is, because you were just talking about having a Man U fan next to you at the Olympic Stadium. Sometimes, and I'm not speaking for all of them, and I wish I had some of the memories they had of Upton Park, because I will not have those. I've only been there twice and I'll never get to go again. But sometimes I think that you're not really angry at David Moyes. You just don't know who to take it out on anymore.
Hmm.
And so you'd send it to the manager. But really, you're pissed at the stadium migration. You're pissed at playing in a bowl. You're pissed when you see away fans sitting in the home end. And what you're really pissed at is how much Karen Brady and David Sullivan have disrespected you. But you can't keep saying that over and over and over. You have to move on with your life. So then you send that anger towards the manager because he's not playing Harry Redknapp style football, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because he's won us a fucking trophy. Be mad at the people who changed the stadium, not the man who's been hired to play in it.
Mm.
That's all I'll say.
I actually agree on that. I really do. I think there is a lot of issues regarding the stadium and issues with that. I think, don't get
Massive.
me wrong.
We could do another, and I would like to adjourn, but I could spend an hour with you
Yeah,
on the stadium, and I'm not even there that often,
yeah,
but I listen to what everyone says, and
yeah,
the difference for me between Upton Park and the Olympic Stadium and that migration, that's a 2-hour show.
yeah.
Really.
I do agree. I
Yeah.
do agree on it. I
And
think
we'll do that some other time soon.
100%. I do agree
All
with what
right.
you're saying. Before I wrap this up, when you say
Yeah.
about the stadium, I think a lot of people can't get over the fact that it's just not. It's just not a football stadium. Yeah, I
No.
think having away fans in the home end and all that, that's a recipe for disaster. That is and what it is, they're trying to make West Ham into a franchise rather than like, whereas
Yeah.
football used to be in England, like especially football used to be very tribal. Like it used to be like you sit here with your home fans, with your own people, and the enemies over there in their block, sort of thing. But
Yeah.
that's changed. But it is a mad one. Listen, thank you very much, Costa. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
If you've liked this, give it a like. It goes a long way. It really helps me out. It's now 2:45 in the morning. Well, fuck knows how I'm doing it, but I'm there for it, people. I really am. Yeah, especially like a video. Subscribe to E20 Zone TV. Share this video.
Right.
Tell you subscribe to the channel, goes a long way and helps us out. But that's been Costa. This has been me. That is the late after hours, and yeah, we're saving another one for another time. But take it easy and all the best.